Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I wanted to share with you my favorite decks and books to work with during the spring season. And I'm having a little bit of a rough day today, so I'm really excited to just sit, chat, have a beverage with you. I just have a cup of chamomile tea here, and just share with you these really wonderful decks. I do have a lot of decks, I'm just warning you now, because spring is my favorite time of the year. Beltane is actually my favorite Sabbath as well. So you will find that a lot of these decks have those types of vibes. I'm going to start off with my, I guess, most recent addition to my collection, the Darkwood Tarot. And I'm enjoying working with this right now because recently we got a whole bunch of snow. We were experiencing spring-like weather. It was like warm. We got this, we got like a couple of weeks of warm temperatures and lots of sunshine. And then last week we just got hit with a bunch of snow and really cold weather here in Canada. So I'm enjoying working with this deck right now. I think it's perfect for transitioning from winter to spring when you're still kind of experiencing those winter snowy days and you're not quite experiencing spring yet. I've been really enjoying my experience with this deck. I'm still getting to know it, but I'm really enjoying doing shadow work with this deck. So that's the Darkwood Tarot. I am going to try and pick up the pace a bit with these decks because, like I said, I do have a lot. I don't want to be here all day. My daughter's napping right now and I don't know how long this nap is going to be, so I will try and get through it at a decent pace. So next I have the Botanical Oracle from For Strange Women. This is an Etsy purchase. It is independently produced. It is on the expensive side, I'll be honest with you. This is one of my favorite Oracle decks of all time. I've spoken in length about this deck. I can't... I'm sure you guys are so sick and tired of hearing about it, so I'll spare you further details. Apart from just, this is one of my favorite decks to work with intuitively. If you're a beginner to working intuitively with decks, if you're a beginner to working with spirituality, I wouldn't recommend this deck unless you feel intuitively drawn to the deck and you feel like it's something that you could work with, because the deck comes with just a very small pamphlet and there's not very much information included. So I would work with your intuition, and you can work with online resources as well. So that's the Botanical Oracle from For Strange Women, or by For Strange Women. Next I have the Herbcrafters Tarot. This is one of my favorite decks. It's actually one of my favorite tarot decks of all time. I edged mine terribly in this light green and I really enjoy working with this deck, usually around the spring and summertime. I love the imagery. It's a very beautiful deck. I believe the creator of this deck has another tarot deck out, but that one includes people. I like this deck because it just includes the herb. There is some animals, like for example in this card, but it's usually just a plant or an herb. Sometimes you'll see hands, like in this card, but for the most part you do just get an herb. What I like about the guidebook is the guidebook tells you the association of the herb, so she'll give you kind of a couple of bullet points of how you can work with the herb in your spiritual practice, or in a witchcraft practice if you practice witchcraft. So that is the Herbcrafters Tarot. Next I have the Seed and Sickle Oracle here. I purchased this last year. This is one of the decks that I chose to work with Hekate. Show you some imagery. So again, this is the Seed and Sickle Oracle. This Oracle deck, similarly to the Botanical Oracle, it doesn't include keywords, so you will have to work with the guidebooks. There are 2 guidebooks that come with this deck. This is beautiful. If I remember off the top of my head, there is like a more shadow work focused guidebook, and then there is a more light guidebook. So this is another baby that I'm excited to whip out this spring, this upcoming spring, and getting to know her a bit better. I'm not gonna lie to you, I did find just having to work with the guidebook to be a bit tricky for me sometimes, particularly last spring. My daughter was pretty young, so I found that I was so busy, I would rather work with something that I could use more intuitively. So I tended to reach for, you know, the Botanical Oracle more. So this year I would like to really get to know this deck in an intimate way. I really like the colors. The artist did such a wonderful job with how she colored each card. So I'm looking forward to also working with it in that way as well. As if you're not new to my channel, you're probably well aware that I do like to work with my cards in an energetic way and incorporating the colors that I see in the cards that I pull for the day into my makeup look. And that's really just to help channel in certain energies if I'm trying to bring in a specific experience into my life, or if I want to really bring in certain or I should say bring out certain qualities in myself. For example, lately I've been really focused on the Emperor's energy, which is so ironic because we're in Aries season right now. So I'm finding myself really drawn to colors associated with the sign of Aries and the archetype of the Emperor. So that's just one way that I really like to work with my cards and incorporate colors into my everyday life through my wardrobe and my makeup. And I can see myself working with this deck this way as well, especially just because the colors are so rich and vibrant. They just jump right off the card. So I really do appreciate that about this deck. Next up, I have my all-time favorite deck, the Witch Sister Tarot. This is a deck that I reach for quite often. I can see myself working with this deck all throughout the year, and spring is no different. This is a deck that I feel it really holds the energy of the earth element. And in the springtime, I feel very connected to the earth element. I like to spend a lot of time out in nature, especially with my daughter. And I really, like I said, I can feel very strong earth energy. I feel a strong connection to my ancestors. So it's, to me, this is the perfect earth element deck. And it really connects in with the physical experience, as you would expect with something that holds a lot of earth energy. So that's the Witch Sister Tarot. I'm really debating getting her other deck, the Tarot of the Hidden Realm. Let me know in the comments section below if you would recommend that deck. I've been on the fence about it. Next up, I have the Botanical Inspirations Oracle deck. So as I mentioned last spring, I was just really connecting with Hekate on my journey, and I was very drawn to herbs and plants. So I have a whole bunch of these herb or like plant focused decks, so you'll see a lot of them on this list. I'm really drawn to the earth element. My chart is split. It's half water, half earth, and then I have one air sign, which I've mentioned on the channel is a Venus and Aquarius. So I am very drawn to earth, like earthy imagery, the earth element in general. I am a Virgo moon, so I do really love nature, plants. I love being out in nature. So you will see a lot of these decks on this list. So that is the Botanical Inspirations. And it comes with a neat little guidebook, and it also comes with a little pamphlet, which I do enjoy when you're in a rush and you just kind of are looking for a quick keyword, and then when you have time later in the day, you can sit with the guidebook. Next up, I have the Tarot in Wonderland, I believe it's called. It is published by Llewellyn, and it follows the story of both, I think, Through the Looking Glass as well as Alice in Wonderland. So as I've mentioned before on my channel, this deck, it has a lot of liminal energy in it, and I feel a strong association with the Empress archetype in this deck that I haven't really explored yet, as well as the Maiden archetype, which I feel it makes sense. But this is a deck that I'm looking forward to working with this spring in a more intimate way. And I like the vibrancy of the colors. It's very saturated. I can see myself working with this in the summer as well. And again, because it holds so much liminal energy in it, I find that these decks are kind of perfect for those in-between days, kind of when you're like transitioning from winter weather to spring weather, which is what we're experiencing right now, similarly to the Darkwood. So I can see myself reaching for this as we continue to kind of transition weather-wise into spring. So again, this is, I'm pretty sure it's called Tarot in Wonderland. So again, I'm gonna, I will go ahead and I'll put the decks in the description box. Okay, next I have the Antique Anatomy Tarot. So this deck, I work with this also in the autumn as well, or any time that I really want to connect with Hades, or any other type of death deity or a deity that's associated with death and rebirth cycles. Anytime that I'm trying to connect with death energy as well, I work a great deal with death energy in my spiritual practice, and I'm planning on doing some more. I think if I was to say that, like if I was to say I practice any particular type of magic or focused on any particular magic, I would say it's this death energy. It's the endings and new beginnings energy. And I feel that this deck balances both very well because of the imagery being very macabre, as well as it contains, every single card contains some sort of plant or flower. And I think that it goes really well with death energy. I don't know any other better way of saying that. And with spring being, and Ostara being really heavily associated with rebirth, I feel that this deck just goes so wonderfully with that energy of rebirth, with it being so heavily associated with death, endings and new beginnings. So again, that's the Antique Anatomy. It's mass market. I think I just have one indie deck, 2 indie decks on this list. So what do we have next? I have the Mystical Manga Tarot next. This deck is a beautifully illustrated deck. It's another Llewellyn deck, so easy to purchase, easy to get your hands on. I find that this deck, it has very rich, vibrant colors as well. It goes really well with spring. And I find that this deck also works really well when you're just kind of looking for a deck to help you transition from winter to spring. And I could even see from spring to summer just because of the rich, vibrant colors. I can even see myself putting this on my summer to autumn list. Again, this is the Mystical Manga Tarot. Next up, I have the Orion's Animal Tarot. I work a lot with animal energy in the springtime. Particularly, I work with particular animals throughout the year as well. A lot of spider energy, raven energy. But around the springtime, I am open to working with other types of animals as well. Any strong emotions that I'm experiencing on that particular day, if I pull a card from this deck, it's usually bang on. Unlike the Darkwood, where I find the Darkwood to be very focused on my subconscious, I usually have to think about what the card means for a while or sit with it and then it'll come to me. So that's one way I really like to work with this deck. I just find it to be a straight shooter. It's very easy to read. And I appreciate that about this deck. I like the animal imagery. I like the colors too. I like the dark and light, that duality too, with the dark backgrounds and the color. It just really makes the colors pop. So I really enjoy working with this deck for those reasons. I don't know if I've mentioned this deck on my channel yet. So this is the Spiritsong Tarot. This is actually one of my oldest decks. I've had it for a very long time. Honestly, I haven't felt very drawn to working with this deck in a very long time. I have whipped it out here and there though, every once in a while. And this deck is something that I'm more drawn to working with in the spring and summertime. I like the animal imagery. There's a lot of nature as well. It feels, again, like it feels very, it holds that earth energy that I really associate the spring with. I feel really drawn to earth energy around the spring, particularly. So I think it's perfect for spring with the pastel colors, the plants, and the artwork, as well as the animals. This is new. This is a Kickstarter that I backed, I believe last year. I think it's a deck for wonder walking. So this is a watercolor deck. It's beautiful. It also comes with the coolest book. It came with an Explorer's Journal of Wonder Walking. So it's beautiful. It has like gold gilding, like there's 3 ribbons, and then you get, I believe that, like you can see the titles, Intuition, Study. These are all her card titles. So it's very, what's the word? Feels like everything belongs. But this deck it's like a matte, glittery edging, gold edging. There is some damage already forming on mine, and like I said, the artwork, it's all watercolor. Cardstock is really nice. It's very similar to, I want to say it's very similar to the Burning Paper Hearts Oracle deck. I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head right now. 3 Black Moons Oracle, that's it. Just the 3 Black Moons Oracle cardstock is a bit thinner. This one it's much thicker. It's very flexible. I love the artwork. I can see myself working with this deck in the spring and summer, particularly on those really rainy days in the spring. It just carries that energy with it very well, and it's a very beautiful deck. I haven't used it in a while, but I did work with it, I'd say maybe a month back, and I was working with it with, shockingly, the Tarot Vampires, and the 2 decks worked very beautifully together. The guidebook that it came with is just like, it's a little pamphlet with some a journal prompt, and then just a quick couple of keywords, or it'll be a quick sentence. No, it's all keywords. Or just a quick sentence. I was right the first time. But what I like doing is I'll find the entry in the book, and sometimes you can get a bit more information that way as well. This next deck, I don't think I have mentioned it yet on my channel either. I have the Starspinner Tarot. Starspinner Tarot. Oh my gosh. The backs are this beautiful metallic purple color. This is another very vibrant deck. It has very rich, saturated colors. There are several lovers cards to choose from. It has a very soft energy. I can see working with energies that are associated more with the archetype of the maiden. It has that manga style imagery as well that I absolutely love. If you're new to my channel, I am a huge manga and anime nerd. I have been since I was a kid, so I do tend to gravitate towards these types of decks as well. So this is the Wild Unknown Tarot by Kim Kranz. This is another animal deck. I enjoy working with this deck all year round. It's a deck that I have a very close connection with. This is actually my first tarot deck. I unfortunately could not learn tarot with this deck. I had to get another I ended up getting another deck to learn tarot because I found this deck to be really difficult. But once I had learned enough about tarot, I came back to this deck and I had such an incredible experience. This deck is, for me, it's one of the best decks that I have for shadow work. I find the artwork to be very confrontational. It brings up a lot of memories, feelings, thoughts. I could go on, and I find that to be very helpful for shadow work. This deck, I couldn't talk more about it. It's an incredible deck. Like I said, I work with it all year round, so spring is no different. And surprisingly, I like the limited use of color. I find that to be just another thing for your intuition to pick up on. So I would probably pair this with another more colorful deck just to really incorporate color. Like I said, I like to work with color energetically, magically. It's a huge part of my practice. So, but I love this deck. I can't get enough of it. For example, I would probably work with it with the next deck that I have on this list, the Woodland Wardens, because it has like a sepia, it's kind of like a toned down color palette. It has a very vintage feel to it. I like to work with this deck in the spring and autumn. I could even see late summer. This deck is beautiful. I recently got a book that the creator of this deck, Jessica Rue, I think her name is pronounced Rue. I got a book that she illustrated as well, so I'm happy to show you that in the book portion of this video, but just her artwork is just beautiful. She has a way of really making these animals come alive. It's almost like they jump out of the cards at you. And I love the colors. I love the vintage feel to it. The cardstock's really nice too. So this is the Woodland Wardens. Again, it has a lot of earth energy. It's a very grounding deck. It's really connects you to the element of the earth, to your physical experience. I like to work with the animals in this deck as well. I like to use this deck to see what animals I'm walking with on my path. Another spirit animal deck that I have is the Spirit Animal Oracle deck by Colette Baron Reed. I had such an incredible experience with this deck a couple of months back. I worked with it with the Witch Sister Tarot. You guys, my mind was blown. It was like the two cards that I would pull a day. I would pull one card from the Witch Sister, I'd pull one card from this Oracle deck, and it was like the two cards were having a conversation with each other. The colors matched. It was so incredible. Again, we have really rich, vibrant, saturated colors. We have animal associations. It has that beautiful earth energy that I feel very connected to around this time of the year. And it is just a very beautiful deck. I don't have very many Colette Baron Reed decks, but this is one that I'm very happy that I have in my collection. I'm not very drawn to a lot of her decks, but this is, I'd say this is one of my favorite Oracle decks in my collection at this point in time. Next up, I have the Seasons of the Witch Beltane Oracle. So this deck, I just purchased it a few months back. Amazon was having a sale. I think I got it $10 off or something around that price. I've mentioned this on my channel. I like to work with the Seasons of the Witch series, although I only have 3 of them. I have the Samhain, Yule, and now the Beltane Oracle. I like to work with them depending on where I am in my menstrual cycle, or depending on what's going on in my life as well. And I do work with this deck all year round. I work with these decks all year round. I don't think you have to use them in that particular Sabbath. But this deck has a lot of bee imagery. It holds the energy of Beltane very well. Beltane is my favorite Sabbath, so. Actually, all the Seasons of the Witch Oracle decks that I have were created by this artist, Giada Rose. Sorry if I butchered that name, but I do really enjoy her art style. I don't have the other artist, any of her decks yet, so I'll have to share with you if I do end up getting any of the other artists' works. Wow, I'm really struggling with my words today. I'm sorry, I'm feeling a little tired. Next up, I have the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit Oracle. This deck, similarly to the Wild Unknown, it has like mostly black and white imagery with pops of color. And I find that, I think that's very intentional, and I find that it really helps connect with my intuition. And I like really working with animal energy around this time of the year. Again, I will use this deck to see what type of animals I'm walking with on my path. So that, again, is the Animal Spirit Oracle by Kim Krans. Okay, so our last deck is the Wild Unknown Archetypes deck by Kim Krans. I work with this deck. I don't think it needs to be spring for you to work with this deck. I work with it all year round, anytime I feel drawn to. But I think that this deck, again, it's the colors. The imagery that does have color, it's beautiful. It's like a rich watercolor, saturated. It's just stunning. You'll notice I'm drawn to working with watercolor decks around this time of the year, as well as in the summer. So I like to work with this deck to see what type of archetype I might be embodying on any particular day, or to see what archetypes have a significant impact on my path for a larger, I guess, period of time as well. So, but I've pulled from this deck for a card a day along with my tarot. I even like to use this deck to bring in a specific experience, a specific archetype as well. If I'm trying to embody a particular energy, I like to work with that deck. Okay, so now finally I want to get to the books. So one of my favorite books to read, I read it last year as well, is Entering Hecate's Garden. So I really enjoy, I enjoy working with herbs and plants around the spring and summer, like especially around Beltane, like around May, June, when they're finally all out in bloom for the most part. And what I like about this book is you get correspondences. I'll just show you a quick. So here you can see rosemary. You can see rosemary, so you'll get like a correspondence. All the correspondences, you'll get the spiritual properties, psychological properties. You'll get the astrological sign, the color, etc. And then she'll give you different recipes. There is food. One of my favorite salads is a recipe in this book. I make it all the time, especially in the spring and summer. I just got so obsessed with that salad, I eventually bought a mint plant last year just so I could make the salad anytime I wanted. This book is written by Cindy Brannon. I've spoken so much on my channel. I absolutely love this author. I have her Entering Hecate's Cave as well. She is currently writing Entering Hecate's Temple. I will most likely get it. I love her works. I find that the information that she provides for Hekate resonates heavily. And I love working with this deck. She talks about Circe and Medea as well. So you get to know the trio very well. Hekate, Circe, Medea. She also talks about Persephone as well, and Persephone's associated plants So you do get to know a bunch of other goddesses as well, not just Hekate. So that again is entering Hecate's cave, not cave, sorry, entering Hecate's garden. Here I have the Witch's Apothecary. So this was created by the author of, or one of the authors of, the Seasons of the Witch. So what I like about this book is she has recipes. She includes recipes for each Sabbath. So you can work with this book as you progress through each Sabbath. So there's recipes, there's associations with each Sabbath. So you'll get your colors, your crystals, your astrological signs, plants, essential oils. You'll get different fruits as well, animal associations, deities, crystals. She has recipes in here. I can't remember if I mentioned that. She's got color correspondences as well. I enjoy art. I create art in my free time, which I don't have very much free time at the moment, but I am drawn to artwork as well. So I do really appreciate that about this book as well, is just that the artwork is stunning. I recently got this book for my birthday. It just passed this month and on the 9th of March. The Wheel of the Year. So this book was illustrated by the same illustrator of the Woodland Wardens deck. So what I like about this deck as well is it's the Wheel of the Year. So she has a section for each Sabbath where she talks about the different correspondences of each Sabbath. The artwork is absolutely stunning. I'll show you. So again, this is an excellent purchase if you're looking for something to work with each Sabbath to really just bring in that energy. Some of these could be excellent for altar decorations as well. You can kind of get a book with the correspondences of each Sabbath, and that can be very helpful for your spiritual practice or decorating your altar, however you like to work with the Sabbath energies. I'll show you one more illustration. And just trying to think if there's any other books. I think that's all the books. Yeah. And of course I'm looking forward to reading An Explorer's Journal of Wonder Walking as the weather gets nicer out and I can actually wonder walk, as Amy T. Wong would put it. So as I've already kind of gone over, I like to work with this like a guidebook with her deck. So I kind of see it as like a companion. So I'm looking forward to working with this as it gets nicer out and I can actually really start diving into this book, because it is something that is meant to be used while you're out walking. That's all the book and decks that I have. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much. I know I have a lot. Like I said, spring is my absolute favorite season. It's a time of the year that I feel the most grounded, alive. I feel the most passion and creativity. It's just a lot of joy and just good times. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.